Sauropods were among the largest animals the world has ever seen. However, alongside this, they were also one of the most successful, with the remains of these animals found on every continent except Antarctica. One place where they thrived was the late Jurassic of North America. However, despite their success in the States, sauropods seemingly vanished from the continent for 30 million years in an event known as the North American Sauropod Hiatus. So, how does a group as large and successful as the sauropods vanish from the fossil record? Well, to understand this, we must first understand the history of sauropods within North America. Despite possibly getting their start evolutionarily in Africa during the late Triassic, sauropods quickly established themselves in North America during the following Jurassic period, with them becoming highly diverse towards the end of this period. This is illustrated best in the famous Morrison Formation of the western United States. Within this formation, 24 species of sauropods have been found, with some of the most iconic, such as Diplodocus and Brachiosaurus, being among them. This high diversity is often described as paradoxical. Based on plant material and its sediment, the Morrison Formation is described as a seasonal semi-arid environment with limited vegetation productivity. So how was sauropods, which would require large amounts of food, able to be diverse in these habitats and seemingly coexist? Well, it is thanks to something known as dietary niche partitioning. This is where animals that have similar diets, such as herbivores, will develop adaptations to feed on different types of food. For sauropods, this manifests as adaptations in their dentition, with species such as Camarasaurus having high bite forces capable of processing tough vegetation. In contrast, other species such as Diplodocus have a weaker bite force, and thus are thought to have employed a branch-stripping feeding style. This difference in feeding style is thought to have been the main driving force behind their success, but this dominance lasted only for a while. As the Jurassic gave way to the Cretaceous, sauropod diversity began to decline in its early stages, with one of the last known in North America being the giant Sauroposeidon. Interestingly, this species does not represent a member of any of the prevalent families during the Jurassic. Instead, it is believed to be a relative of a population of basal titanosaurs that migrated from Gondwana. This shows that there was a link between the two continents and a decline in the sauropod families that dominated the early Jurassic. This decline continued, and around 100 million years ago, sauropods had vanished from both the ichthofossil and fossil records of North America. This hiatus, though, came to an end 30 million years later with the arrival of the titanosaur species Alamosaurus sanjuanensis during the Maastrichtian. However, there is some evidence to suggest that sauropods arrived back in North America during the earlier Campanian, but these have not been assigned to a specific species. So, this would make Alamosaurus the only definitive sauropod present in North America since the hiatus, with the species lasting right until the end of the Cretaceous. So we know who was there originally and who was there in the end, but there is still one question left to answer. Why did such a successful group disappear? No one is quite sure, as no one was around to verify what happened, but two theories have been used to explain it. The first and most simple one is that there were sauropods on the continent, but we do not find any because of sampling bias. According to authors Lucas and Hunt, who proposed this theory, sauropods would have been pushed out of their preferred lowland feeding habitat by the forming of the Western Interior Seaway into more inland habitats that do not preserve fossils as well as coastal regions do. Then, once the climate of the interior became cool and dry, sauropods began recolonizing these areas, which explained the sudden appearance of Alamosaurus. This theory, however, was later rejected by its proposers, as sauropod remains have yet to be found at inland sites dated to the gap. The second theory states that instead of being there but not preserving, sauropods went extinct on the continent during this period. How did such a dominant group go extinct, you may ask? Well, there are two possibilities again. The first is thanks to the Western Interior Seaway seaway, flooding their preferred feeding habitats. The second is that hadrosaurs may have eventually outcompeted them. Even though looking at them, you may wonder how this is possible, it was suggested that in their earlier growth stages, hadrosaurs could outcompete sauropods for food resources. This was also backed up by the presence of the last pre-Hiatus sauropods in North America being found alongside early North American hadrosaurs. This would mean that sauropods went extinct in North America. So where does Alamosaurus come from? Well, this species shares no close relationship with any North American sauropod, and was more closely related to the South American genus Pellegrinosaurus, suggesting that it was an immigrant from South America. This was not a popular theory, as the only connection between the two continents at the time would have been island chains, which was said to be an unsuitable way for the sauropods to cross. This led people to suggest that it instead would have originated in Asia and crossed the Bering Land Bridge into North America. However, South American origin is now the most likely. Not only have Alamosaurus fossils only been found in the southern regions of the United States, but the timing of the arrival of sauropods in North America coincides with the arrival of hadrosaurs in South America, leading to the suggestion that both species would have used the same routes in order to cross between continents. This would make Alamosaurus the first sauropod the continent had seen in a long time. But was this gap as long as people think? You see, in 2018, part of a caudal vertebra was uncovered in Alberta, Canada, that was said to resemble that of a titanosaur. But what is interesting is that this fossil was dated to the Santonian period around 83 million years ago. If this is indeed a sauropod fossil, then this would make the gap only 17 million years instead of 30, and lend credence to the preservation bias theory. But as far as I am aware, this has not yet been confirmed. Regardless of this, the disappearance and comeback of the sauropods in North America is truly a remarkable period in Earth's history. And if you want to know more about another amazing comeback, click the video on the screen. Until next time, bye bye.